woman after marriage becomes a wife. For 9 long months she carries a new life. Islam legislates equality, my sisters and brothers. Don't forget paradise lies at the feet of your mothers.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our episode, The Art of Divorce. It's a series of episodes in which we are clarifying how we as Muslims go about having a divorce in the correct way. And from previous episodes we've learned that actually if we really know the art of divorce, it's really staying away from divorce. And the person who has been helping us to understand this is no other than Sheikh Haitham Al-Haddad, who is a member of the Islamic Sharia Council of the UK and also the director of the Muslim Research and Development Foundation. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
And it's good to have you again.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, in the last episode we discussed about the 3 acts or the 3 stages the man takes part in terms of just before divorce happens. And you mentioned that he advises his wife, then he stays away from her, and then he, as we said, smacks her, yeah. Right? And it's not as we understand the word smack in the West.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens after this?
Okay, so that is the first stage. We said mainly we have 3 stages: before divorce, during divorce, and after divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before divorce we have these 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
Also there is another step. Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned وَاللَّاتِ تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَا إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا.
Mm-hmm.
If you, who are you? Either the families or the judge. If you feel that they might have a dispute or the dispute will go further to cause shiqaq baynihima means complete separation.
Mm-hmm.
So just before that, send a hakam. A hakam means a person who is part of the family of the wife and another person who is part of the family of the husband.
Yes.
And both of those people will act as arbitrators. They will look at the situation, they will hear both of their views, and then they will conclude something. They will write their report to the judge.
Okay.
So, for example, if they report that this marriage is not going to work, then they will report it to the judge, and the judge can act accordingly. Or they might say that, well, there is a problem, and you can overcome this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at the wisdom of Sharia. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, حَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. A person from the wife's family, not only from the wife's family, another person, not independent, but from the family of the husband, to make sure that justice is maintained. Not only that, but the views of both parties are there. And not just take a person from outside the family, because we don't want everyone to know about the family. And this, as some scholars said, this is a final stage, which means that the spouses, the husband and wife, should try in the beginning to keep their problems among themselves.
Yes.
If they find that it is impossible to keep it among themselves, and they might think that their life is not going anywhere, then the issue of sending the hakamain or arbitrators. Then if the hakamain, the arbitrators, and again I'm sure many people have spoken about this, because this involves how to involved in how to maintain a successful marriage.
Yes.
But briefly, if the 2 arbitrators decided that this marriage is not going anywhere and it is better for both sides to end up this marriage, then they can write this report to the qadi, to the judge, and the judge will decide accordingly.
Okay.
Now, this procedure, all of these steps that we have mentioned, should take place before divorce. And again, as we said, that is not the main subject of our series.
Yes, yes.
The main subject is during the divorce. Let us discuss it during the divorce.
And so just before I go into you go into that, I just want to clarify something. So it's after that arbitration of the two relatives from both sides, is only then a person can say, okay, then
No,
a
not
divorce should take place?
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
But this is one of the highly recommended steps. By the way, in the UK, for example, I don't know about many other Western countries, but in the UK recently, the law said that the two spouses, before getting into the procedure of divorce, they have to sit with someone who is doing counseling for them. And they have to submit this officially. Now, it is not so binding, but the judge normally sends them to counseling.
Counseling, yes.
Yeah, or for counseling. So this is like counseling. The two arbitrations, like counseling. Now, see here, even before discussing the stage during divorce itself, this means that divorce itself is the last resort. We should not jump into it immediately. We mentioned the ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, 3 steps. التي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن واضربوهن. Okay, 3 steps. So don't think of divorce immediately, and this is what they call a thumb rule, yeah,
yes.
or a rule of thumb.
Yes.
Okay, we don't want to use this expression, but please, brothers and sisters, in particular brothers, husbands, divorce is the last resort. Try hard before that. Sisters, let me whisper in your eyes, I know your husbands are listening. Believe me, you will suffer a lot from divorce. We say that it is not the end of the life, but you will suffer. In fact, what we have seen is women suffering from divorce more than men.
SubhanAllah.
The man can go easily, and the man can go and get married to another wife easily. But it is not the case with a sister. And wallahi, sister, I swear by Allah that many sisters, divorcees, they had children. And after some time, I asked them a question. Do you regret that you have been divorced? And in many cases, they say yes. We regret. And if it is, if we can
turn back
the time, we wouldn't accept to be divorced. We would work maybe hard in order to avoid divorce. Subhanallah al-Azim. So sisters, I know, and by the way, this is always we hear, oh no, my situation is different. My situation is a unique situation. I'm not like them. Everyone has his own situation. We always hear this story. But please think of the consequences of divorce. Now, see, this sending the arbitration means divorce should be the last resort, and this is one of the skills that we need to know about divorce, and this is one of the steps that we need to be aware of before taking the actual divorce into place. Now, then let us go to the first step of divorce.
So the prerequisites are 4 steps.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And now let us describe the actual step or the steps of divorce.
Okay.
First of all, the sunnah of divorce is not to divorce your wife while she is in her cycle or in her free period, provided that you had a full sexual relationship with her. So the sunnah divorce is to divorce her in her free period, when she is pure, after the period, with no sexual relationship taking place after the period.
Okay.
If that is the case, then you can divorce her, which is considered to be the sunnah talaq by the consensus of all scholars.
Okay.
If you divorce her during her cycle or in her purity after a relationship, then that is the bid'ah divorce. Ibn Umar, he divorced his wife, and Umar ibn al-Khattab, his father, asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, And the hadith is well known in Sahih al-Bukhari, in al-Sahihain, okay, hadith ibn Abbas. And the Prophet ﷺ said to Umar, مُرْهُ فَلْيُرَاجِعْهَا. Command your son Ibn Umar to reconcile or to take her back.
Yes.
And wait for her until she had her period and she becomes clean from the period. Then if he wants to divorce her, then he should divorce her. If he doesn't want, then he will take her, then he will stay with her. Now the bid'ah divorce, okay, divorcing during the period or after a sexual relation, afterward, we don't mean immediately after, but we mean that during the purity period, a sexual relationship took place between the husband and wife.
Yeah.
That bid'ah divorce, some scholars said it is a sin. Yeah, means the husband, if he does it, he is sinful. And we don't want, because it is not a fiqh discussion, we don't want to get into the validity of a bid'ah divorce and the invalidity of that bid'ah divorce, but that is the first step.
Okay.
So the husband divorces
sure.
his wife, okay, one time after she becomes pure, and there should be no sexual relationship during that time.
Okay, so just to clarify it for the viewers as well. So he can't divorce her during the menses period, nor during a period of without the menses, the pure period, as we call it. Without, if he has a sexual relationship, he can't as well. This is called the bid'ah divorce.
Exactly, he can't.
He can only divorce her after the period, which is in her purity period, in which they don't have a sexual relation.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Then the second point about the sunnah talaq is to divorce her one time.
Okay.
Not to divorce her 2 times together or 3 times together. Just one time. And no need to repeat that word. I know, and which we mentioned in one of the episodes, the previous episodes, that many people would like to stress on it. You are divorced, you are divorced, you are divorced. Don't do it, please. Don't do it. Okay? Say you are divorced. That is more than enough. Okay? Then, we are just going through the procedure briefly. Yeah? Then the second step is that now she is divorced. She, and that is the first divorce. This is called the first divorce, and she has to wait the iddah period before she becomes free to get married to another man.
Okay.
So after the divorce, there is a cooling period, which is called the iddah period. And the iddah period is, according to some scholars, is 3 cycles. According to some other scholars, is 3 purity periods. Yeah. So 3 periods, we say, generally speaking, if she is not pregnant. If she is pregnant, then her iddah period ends when she gives birth.
Okay, we'll talk about the iddah after we take a break, inshallah. So viewers, stay tuned for more on the art of divorce.
Don't forget paradise lies at the feet of your
Many people trying to get together, but all their efforts were in vain because of ignoring or turning away from this great foundation. We see many people coming to the way of truth, following the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but later on, they get off track. What is the reason behind that? Unity is a result, it's not a cover-up. We have to be united from inside. And Allah made this clear in the Quran when He said, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ.
Don't forget paradise lies at the feet of your mothers.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're watching The Art of Divorce, and we're still talking to our guest from the United Kingdom, Sheikh Haitham Al-Haddad. In the first segment, we mentioned that after the arbitration happens, the husband mentions divorce only once, and then it goes into the period, the cooling period, we say the iddah period. You give us the description that it's 3 periods, or for the woman who is pregnant until she delivers.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Now, the iddah period differs from one situation to another situation. Again, we are not discussing fiqh here, but briefly I'll explain it. The scholars, they mention that there are different types of women with respect to the iddah, according to what was mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah. If a woman is not hamil, it means ha'il, they say in Arabic, means she's not pregnant,
Yes.
then she had one type, okay? Or she constitutes one type of women. Then the other type is pregnant women. The third type is what? Women who either left their iddah period, left their menses, means ayisa, okay, and now she doesn't see her iddah, and she's very old, or something happened to her, so she doesn't see the period anymore, okay, ayisa called, or the very young women that have not seen any period. So now these are 3 types. For pregnant women is very easy. وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنْ, as Allah Jalla wa Ala said in the Quran, and this is again the consensus of all the scholars. أُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ, pregnant women, the iddah comes to an end when they give birth.
Okay.
The second type is women who see normal period, irrespective of the length between their periods.
Yes.
But they see regular period.
Yes.
So the iddah of those, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. This is in Surah An-Nisa. وَالْمُطَلَّقَات, they wait for ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. Quru here, the word quru is the plural of qur'. Qur', the scholars differ about it, whether it is the purity period or the cycle itself.
Okay.
Some scholars said the cycle, some scholars said the purity period.
Yeah.
And that's why we say go to your local mufti and check his opinion about this.
Yes.
So this is the normal women. فعدتهن 3 قروء والمطلقات يتربصن بأنفسهن 3 قروء, as Allah Jalla wa Ala said in the Quran. Then those واللائي يئسن من المحيض واللائي لم يحض, those who have not, those who have not seen the period because they are young, or those who became very old and the period disappeared. So those فعدتهن 3 أشهر. فعدتهن 3 أشهر. Allah Jalla wa Ala says واللائي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن 3 أشهر واللائي لم يحضن, and those who have not seen the period.
Okay.
So the iddah for them is 3 months.
Okay. But you meaning the person who doesn't see the period is the woman who doesn't reach the age of having the period?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's young, and sometimes there had been cases of some sisters who've been maybe 15, at the age of 15, and they got married and they haven't seen the period, or even younger than that.
Yes.
And the old women after the age of 50 or around the age of 50, the iddah or the period disappears.
Okay.
So this is the iddah period.
Okay.
Now, this period, if a husband divorced his wife, then she has to witness the iddah period. There are certain rules and regulations for the iddah period. We will not go through them because they are quite long, but we will go through one important point, which is mentioned in Surah Al-Talaq, which is لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن. First of all, Allah Jalla wa Ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that whenever you want to divorce women, divorce them just before their period, مستقبلات لعدتهن, just before their prescribed period. Ibn Abbas explained it, okay, as that the person should divorce her, as we explained before, on a time where she is pure from her period and there had been no sexual relationship. Allah Jalla wa Ala says in the Quran in Surah Al-Talaq, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ وَأَحْصُوا الْعِدَّةَ واتقوا الله ربكم لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة. O Prophet, if you divorce women, divorce them before their prescribed period. Before their prescribed period means in their purity, okay, provided that there has been no sexual relationship. وَأَحْصُوا الْعِدَّةِ, count the iddah. Then Allah Jalla wa Ala said, لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن, don't expel them, don't kick them out of their houses, matrimonial houses, and they should not go. ولا يخرجن, themselves they should not leave. And we will elaborate on this inshallah in the near future. So this is the second point, is that once the husband divorces his wife, they should wait for the iddah period. During the iddah period, she should stay at her husband's house.
Yes.
Now, during that period, she is a wife. What do we mean by this? Many people are unaware of this. I will not dwell into it because this is a fiqh discussion, but briefly, she is a wife means what? If the husband died, she inherits him. If she died, he inherits her.
Subhanallah.
Okay? And that's why if she's not a wife, she's not allowed to stay at his house alone. And even some scholars from the Salaf encouraged her to beautify herself, to try to talk to him, to try to reconcile. And that is the main wisdom behind the cooling period. We will be surprised. I've been astonished to read that even in Western perspective, from Western perspective, they advise people to have this cooling period. Subhanallah al-Azim. And Islam encouraged us to have this cooling period when? 1400 years ago. So they said in the cooling period, before we make the divorce, they call it absolute divorce, means before concluding divorce, let us have this cooling period. This is almost the same or very similar. Now, once the husband divorced his wife, waited for the iddah period, they haven't decided to reconcile, they did not reconcile, the iddah came to an end, the wife now is free to get married to another man, and also she is free to marry him again.
Okay.
But going back to him is not going back to him, but marrying him.
Okay. So there's
within
a
the
difference.
iddah period, he can take her back without even her consent. After the iddah period, he cannot take her back, and this is one of the things that we have explained in one of the previous episodes.
Yes.
After the iddah period, he cannot take her back except with what? A new nikah, a new contract. And all the conditions of a contract, of a marriage contract, has to be or have to be fulfilled. The consent of the wali, the witnesses, and the mahr. These are the main conditions. The witnesses, the consent of the wali, the witnesses, and the mahr. Of course, provided that she accepts that. So means her consent. These are the conditions, the main conditions for a valid nikah. So he has to do this. Here, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, mentioned this in Surah Al-Baqarah as well. Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah something called Al-Adl. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنْكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ إِذَا تَرَاضَوْا بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Al-Adl. What is Al-Adl? This surah, this verse was revealed because of the story of Ma'qil ibn Yasar. Ma'qil ibn Yasar, one of the Sahaba, his daughter got married, his sister got married to another man from the Sahaba.
Yes.
That man divorced her. Ma'qil ibn Yasar, the brother, became very angry. And he said to him, I gave you my sister on a goodwill, and then now you divorced her? After some time, when the iddah period came to an end, the husband wants to go back to his ex-wife.
Yes.
Wants to marry her. Now, because the conditions have to be fulfilled, and the consent of the wali, who is Ma'qil ibn Yasar, has to be there, Ma'qil ibn Yasar said, no, I don't want. I gave her to you on a goodwill, okay, and you slept with her, and you just threw her like this, Wallahi la tarji'u ilayka abada. By Allah, she will not go back to you. She wanted to go back to him. He wants to go back to her.
Yes.
So they went to the Prophet ﷺ, and the ayah of the adl came down. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنْكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ إِذَا تَرَاضَوْا بَيْنَهُم بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Don't stop them, don't prevent them from marrying their husbands if they think that they can live in a goodwill. So Ma'qil ibn Yasar, after that, he said, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا, and he allowed her, his sister to get married to her ex-husband. So this is the second or third point.
Yes.
Is that divorce, the iddah period, if the iddah period came to an end, you want to go back to your ex-wife, then you have to get married to her again. During the iddah period, you can take her even without her consent, without the consent of her wali.
If you can just clarify for us, what are some of the ways that you can return your wife? Just by saying it?
Okay, to return your wife, saying it to the wife, or saying it to the wali of the wife, or saying it to witnesses. Now here, we mentioned this maybe quickly in one of the previous episodes, but learning how to divorce is very important, because brothers, we had some cases in the Islamic Sharia Council where the husband said, I took my wife. And we asked the wife, did you know that he took you? She said, no, never. Sister, are you telling the truth? She said, Wallahi, he never. Okay, this is al-yamin. We ask her to swear by God that she never knew that her husband, okay, took her back. Al-bayyina ala al-mudda'i. We ask him, do you have any proof? You did not tell her. He could not prove it. Do you have witnesses? He doesn't have witnesses. Have you told her father, the wali? No. Then the scholars said that even if he, as a matter of fact, he took her back, but there is no proof, there is no shuhud, he did not tell her wali, then she doesn't go back to him.
Subhanallah. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Haitham. Every time we finish the episode, I am seeing that it's really the lack of the wanting us wanting to know our religion more is really making us fall into sin ignorantly. Okay, Sheikh Haitham, Jazakallah khair for being with us on today's episode. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward and protect you. And to all the viewers, keep watching us on The Art of Divorce. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Woman's status in Islam, we should never neglect. They are favored and deserve their respect. They can pray at the mosque or even at home. They may marry or divorce, it's a choice of their own. A woman after marriage becomes a wife. For 9 long months she carries a new life. Islam legislates equality, my sisters and brothers. Don't forget paradise lies at the feet of your mother. Righteous women can lead a happily married life. The best men are those who are best to their wives.